In this video, we will be completing topic 6. In this video, we will be completing topic 16 of EDEXCEL-Math Cambridge IGCSE, and I'll try to divide this sheet into two videos, part 1 and part 2. Alright, so let's begin. So we're going to start by defining a quadratic graph. A quadratic graph is a graph that has a parabola. Parabola is the shape of a quadratic graph. Okay, it looks something like this, or like this. Okay. Now, if in the equation of ax squared plus bx plus c, which we are going to take of the quadratic formula, if it has a positive coefficient of x squared, then it is a u-shaped graph where the minimum point is the bottom of u. If it is a negative coefficient of x squared, it is a n-shaped graph where the maximum point is the top of n. On the quadratic graph, the vertical line is known as the line of symmetry, which is the x points of A and B. And the x points of A and B at the intersection on the quadratic graph is known as the turning point A and B. Now the maximum and minimum points are both the turning points, and a quadratic will always cross the y-axis, but not always the x-axis. Okay? So again, here, if there's a positive quadratic in the equation ax squared plus bx plus c, it will be u-shape. If it is a negative quadratic, it is going to be an n-shape. Let's have a look at how to draw a graph of the y is equal to x squared for negative 3 to 3. So this is how to draw a quadratic graph with the given x values. So have a look at your x values. You are given from negative 3 to 3. So what I want you to do first is make a table of the given x values. Okay, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 1, 2, 3. Of course, I forgot to mention 0. Alright, now take each of these x values, substitute it into the equation to find the y. Then take each x and y value as 1 point and plot it on the graph to find your parabola. Here's another example. Draw the graph of y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3 for negative 4 to 2. Using the table method, we will make a table of the x values from negative 4 to 2. Now we will take each x value, put it in the equation, find the corresponding y values. Now take each pair of points and plot it on the graph to form your parabola. Now a rule to remember is that on the table, the x-intercept solution is where y is equal to 0. Where is y 0? Here. So what is the solution? Negative 3. Where is y equal to 0? Here. What is the solution? 1. So the solutions of our equation are negative 3 and 1. X-intercept, it intersects at the x-axis at negative 3 and 1. That's how you can check if your table or calculation is done correctly. Another example. Solve the graph for x squared plus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So we're going to, since it is a quadratic equation, we're going to use factorization using the calculator modify 3 to find the x solutions. Why do we need the solutions? Because it is solve. Whenever it's solved, you must find the solutions. So x plus 3 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. This means move each to the other side. X is equal to negative 3, x is equal to 1. So the points of intersection, or the solutions of the parabola, are negative 3 and 1. Okay, now let's have a look at the types of trigonometric graphs. The first one is going to be our linear. In the linear, we have the graphs followed by the equation y is equal to mx plus c. When the gradient is 0, gradient is greater than 0, the line is moving from left to right upward. If the gradient is less than 0, left to right downward. If the gradient is equal to 0, there is no slope, so it is a horizontal line on the vertical axis. If it is equal to a, then it is undefined. Vertical line on the horizontal axis. The cubic graph is y is equal to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. If a is greater than 0, if a is positive, it will look like this. If a is negative greater than 0, it will look like this. And these are other two variations of the cubic graph. The asymptote or reciprocal graph. followed by two formulas: y is equal to a over x, or y is equal to a over x squared. If y is equal to a over x, and if a is positive greater than 0, it will look like this. If y is equal to a over x and a is negative less than 0, it will look like this. If y is equal to a over x squared, a is positive, look like this, a is negative, look like this. Lastly is our quadratic equation. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, defined by the graph of the parabola. If a is positive, it will look like this. If a is negative, it will look like this. U and n, these are the turning points. And the formula of the turning point is x is equal to negative b over 2a. Here's a summary of the trigonometric graphs. And now let's have a look at how to solve the cubic graphs. So the cubic graph will always contain a term of x cubed. Okay? Now the technique and table to make and draw them is exactly the same as the quadratic graphs. Okay? The rule is as it is. To solve, make a table of the x points within the given range of the x values, jump by 0.5, or try your best to make the jump by 0.5 between the x values. Then substitute the x values into the equation to find the y's. Take each as a pair of points and plot them on the graph to find your cubic graph. Estimating gradients. So this is going to be, I'm going to stop at tangents here for the first part of this video, and in the next part of the video we will continue with trigonometric graphs. A tangent is a straight line which touches the graph curve at that point that has the same gradient. A tangent estimates the gradient at any point on a curve by drawing a triangle. So for example, find the gradient at point P with the coordinates 7 and negative 15. So as you can see, it is a curve, so we cannot use rise over 1. But we can make a straight line and find the difference of rise and find the difference of run, which is our rise over run, to find the gradient or slope of this tangent. And that is basically it for part 1. In part 2, I will continue from trig graphs, so I'll see you in the next video.